Alright, I'm going to make the argument. I feel about this very strongly. I think that communication is the most important skill for you to learn when you're young. Because, as shown by this clickbaity thumbnail, speaking is the foundation of everything else. Now look, okay, all the people are going to say, oh, learning about facts, about science, facts of the world, that's the most important thing to learn when you're young. And look, I'm not saying it's not important. And I'm incredibly interested in science. In fact, science is one of the best subjects of mine. But ultimately, I'm convinced that speaking and communicating is the most important skill you can have, period. That's it. I just want you to think about the history of it all. Okay, what made us human beings be able to dominate the entire world? A lot of scientists say human beings are out of the food chain. We're out. We're not even in the food chain anymore. Some people would say we're top of the food chain. No, we're out of the food chain. We can do anything we want. To animals, we are God. I drew that like a bit long. I always do that, sorry. Alright. Look. What made us different, other than, you can say opposable thumbs and stuff, but I think the foundation of it all was language. Our ability to communicate to each other in coherent ways. Think about it. A world without language. What can you do? Wow. That's all. That's all you can do. You can't think of complex ideas. Without language, there can't be complex ideas that are born. You can't think democracy. You can't think government. You can't think money. You can't think anything that is the backbone of our society. You cannot work together at a large scale. Look at everything in your room right now. Whether it's a keyboard, a computer, probably a computer, whether it's a lamp, everything's made so nicely. Think of every single thing you have in your home is made by, first of all, a human being who takes money, which is a social construct, and mines for minerals. And those minerals are transported by car by another person who learned to drive cars because he was communicated to by his coach. And he knows to drive these minerals because he was told to, and also he was paid with money, again, a social construct. And that led to the factory by a worker who was told through language to make it. Without language, how can this whole process happen and eventually be delivered to your home? That's you, by the way. I hope I'm not getting that wrong. So, I think that language is the number one thing that separates us humans from animals. Oh yes, there's also a bunch of other stuff, but I think the foundation of everything, from tool making to your, building guns and airships, that's all from language. Now that I've talked about how important it is, how is it actually practical to you? Because I love practicality. Think about any job. Any job. One in your mind right now. Okay, if you're Asian, you're probably a doctor and lawyer or engineer. If you're fucking crazy American, you'd say YouTuber. Or some probably not astronaut anymore these days. Yeah, just YouTuber. Or like Discord mod. Is this racist? Alright, so no matter what job you do, these seem so different. They do completely different things, and their pay grades are completely different. And yet, one thing is required: language and communication. Without language and communication, you can do none of these things. Sure, as an engineer, you can do calculations. Great, good for you. But how are you going to tell your boss about what calculations you did if you don't have language? If you can't speak? Nothing can happen if you're not able to speak. Or at least nothing that's good. Or gonna make you wealthy or successful in any way. Like, you can be a janitor without communicating. Sure. Okay, fair enough. But do you want to be a janitor? Come on. It doesn't matter which industry you go to. Okay? Doesn't matter what it is. The most you can do without any communication, effective communication, is like this high. Once you have communication, that is with communication. Think, for example, doctor, what's the career path? First, you are a resident. Okay, you're just checking out patients, and you're occasionally communicating, you're paid okay, pretty good compared with other people. When you get to become a true doctor, not a resident anymore, you have to communicate with the residents in order to teach them. That requires communication. That's why you're paid more. And eventually you get to the top, president. At this point, you're not really doing much work that doesn't require communicating. Your entire job is to communicate and make sure things stay in order. Then you're paid much higher. See, it is communication that makes the difference between good and great in an industry. Between just another mindless slave and a person who's able to take initiative and lead. A slave and a leader. The difference between leader and slave is communication. That is it. That's all. So, doesn't matter what you want to do. Alright, does not matter. You need speaking. You need to be extremely eloquent in communicating your ideas. Hence, if you're going to aim for something much bigger, like starting a business, communication is a must. It is the first thing that you have to get down. Not your ideas, okay? Of course, think of good ideas, right? It's not your skill set. It's your ability to convince and persuade people to go to your side. I'm going to go into practicality, practically how to get better at speaking in another video. But for now, just understand, no matter what you do, speaking is king. Oh, and if you disagree with me, please comment below. I'd like to hear it as well.